I'm going to go through a rhetorical analysis of the brand Pepsi. So, as a brief history of Pepsi, Pepsi is a carbonated soft drink, and it is manufactured by PepsiCo. So Pepsi was initially founded in 1893 and was first known as Brad's Drink. Then in 1898, they changed the product name to Pepsi Cola. And then in 1961, the name changed to what it is today, just Pepsi. So Pepsi and PepsiCo are headquartered in Harrison, New York. So, when establishing an audience profile, there are a few strategies to do this. So, the first thing I did was look at the average age of people who drink pop. And so I found that to be between ages 16 and 35. And so I would use this as Pepsi's target audience. I think that this could be proven that that's also who they market to through things such as social media as well as their slogans. So one of their slogans is "Live for Now" and another is "Pepsi Generation." And so these are both more geared toward a younger generation. When looking at social media, specifically Twitter, we can see how Pepsi uses this target audience to create content. When analyzing Pepsi's tweets, I noticed they used quite a few memes as well as humor. So for the first tweet that we have here on the screen, it says "Delicious Fizz, crisp cola flavor," and it has a handshake emoji, and underneath it says Pepsi. So this was a popular meme going around in June. And so Pepsi hopped on board and ran with it. And then the next one says hashtag "We could be friends, but you drink Coke." And so again, this was humorous, relevant with the times, and I think both of these prove that Pepsi was geared or trying to gear toward a younger generation. So with that, we can look at Instagram. So Pepsi does the same thing on Instagram. They use a lot of humor and memes and comedy to get through to the reader. And so we can look at the specific post and it says things like "gorgeous logo" in case you forgot what you were drinking. So that's an attempt at being funny. And then the quote or the caption for the post says "optimal design on the outside, true perfection on the inside." So it's kind of fun and witty, not too serious. And so again, I think this is targeting more of a younger generation. And so in addition to how Twitter average user is pretty young, Instagram is too. So the or 90% of Instagram users are under the age of 35. So a third platform we can look at is Facebook. This is actually really interesting. So the average Facebook user is about 40 and a half years old. So this is completely out of Pepsi's target audience. So it's kind of interesting how they clearly understand that and they understand the average Facebook user and they basically don't post on Facebook at all. So in the year 2017, there were 0 posts that I could find on Pepsi's page. And then in 2018, there's very few posts. So the one we have here says "Who will win when Leo Messi and this other guy compete for last chance standing." So these are soccer players, and it's a video, and so it's people they sponsor, but it's not memes and humor and constant posting. It's definitely they're using their resources more for Twitter and Instagram compared to this platform. So were these effective? I would definitely say yes, they were. So with Twitter and Instagram, they were effective in using their target audience to understand the age of the users of the social media. Same with Facebook, they didn't really use it, but it was effective because they didn't really have to. So here we are going to establish a company profile for Pepsi. And so first thing I'm going to do is I looked at the website, so just Pepsi.com, and this is what comes up. So you notice it says "delicious, refreshing Pepsi." It's very simple and bold, and then after this, a video of someone pouring a can of Pepsi into a glass comes up. So it's very product oriented, and it's fun and fresh, and it's not like much of the social media. It is not too serious. And so here are a few more posts in addition to what we looked at earlier to kind of establish more of a company profile and understanding the persona of how Pepsi works. Pepsi is not trying to establish credibility as a health food company. So you can obviously tell through posts. So the one on the left here is from Twitter, and it has a Pepsi and pizza, and then on the right is from Instagram, and it's Pepsi and a burger. And so a lot of their posts have to do with food and how Pepsi pairs with anything. So like I said, they're not establishing credibility as anything but a soft drink and a sugary beverage. And so in addition to these, they also have, like I said earlier, humor and memes through their posts. And so all of this is kind of like a light, fun, easygoing type of post. So I would say their persona isn't trying to tackle big issues. It's more just fun. So keeping in mind the audience profile and the company profile, we're going to analyze the communication strategy through social media.
So the communication strategy that I believe Pepsi uses is pathos. So that's an emotional appeal. So I think they do this through visuals, humor, and figurative language. Um, so we're going to go through a little bit of the social media and prove that. So, like I said, the visuals and humor and figurative language, that would be like Twitter. And so these are the tweets that we analyzed earlier, the memes and humor. And then next, we're going to go through another one. Here's a retweet from Pepsi. It was initially tweeted by United Way of Greater Atlanta. It says, "Thanks at Pepsi. As a result of hashtag Cola Truce, we're giving back to the Atlanta community by donating 130,000 meals to those in need. Thank you." So this is not really common for what Pepsi typically tweets. This is more service oriented and like kind of a deeper tweet. So I think this is why Pepsi retweeted it. So earlier we analyzed the company profile, and I established that the persona of Pepsi is more of a fun, lighthearted type of thing. And so by retweeting this rather than tweeting it, it's kind of like citing your source and establishing credibility to a reliable source. If you're doing this in a paper, it's like United Way of Greater Atlanta is kind of the expert in service, while Pepsi may be the expert in fun, sugary drinks. So this is a way that Pepsi was able to show that they are for service, but more from a credible source. So, in short, that advertisement was basically Kendall Jenner, a model, saw a peaceful protest going on and decided to join. There were cops standing guard. She grabbed a Pepsi, offered it to a cop, then everyone started to get along. So, this was, like I said, in 2017. So, this was in the peak of the rise of the Black Lives movement, as well as, or Black Lives Matter movement, as well as like a very tense political and societal climate. So most notable through social media was Dr. King's daughter, Bernice King, tweeted out, "If only Daddy would have known about the power of hashtag Pepsi." And so with this photo here, and then you can see underneath that 147,000 people were using that hashtag Pepsi, and then 276,000 people favorited this tweet from Dr. King's daughter. So it got a lot of backlash, and then this was just on one particular tweet. So there were many, many tweets about this. And so Pepsi responded almost immediately. So the next day, Pepsi put out this statement. Pepsi was trying to project a global message of unity, peace, and understanding. Clearly, we missed the mark, and we apologize. We did not intend to make light of any serious issue. We are removing the content and halting any further rollout. We apologize for putting Kendall Jenner in this position. And then that was like a picture, and this was only posted on Twitter, which was the platform that received the most backlash. And then the caption of this was, "We at Pepsi believe in the legacy of Dr. King and meant absolutely no disrespect to him and others who fight for justice." Clearly, this was a response to Dr. King's daughter posting that. So, in analyzing the effectiveness of this response, I would definitely say that by saying they missed the mark and apologizing, again, they were using pathos and an emotional appeal, trying to be more genuine and saying that in their apology. So I would say it was effective, but I mean, the damage really was done. So it was effective, but it was just kind of like they moved right on, which I'm not sure if I would have a suggestion on a better way to have handled it, but that was just how they did it.